We're doing it again. Scraggly bits and all, man. Scraggly bits and all. Greetings, folks. I found myself a parking lot in a elementary school in Clarkson, and also while I'm here, I got myself a kofefe from the daily grind that I saw on a run twice. And I was trying to figure out where the heck are these people? And they have all these baked goods, and apparently it's a place where if you don't have office space, you could touch down there. So it looks pretty good anyway. So, and we are now in lockdown 3, the remix. So there you have it. So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever gone on the internet looking for something and then you end up going off tangents and you go deep down into the rabbit hole like every time I open my phone? Well, I'm sure you answered the question with a resounding yes, you have. But sometimes these are just distractions. But sometimes you find something so obscure you end up plummeting into the abyss of this subject matter. Yes, a bird just shit on my car. Are you serious? And you end up in Wonderland, or maybe wondering where all your time went. But I ended up finding something that I just didn't know existed. And it was so wonderful and weird that I had to share it with you, because if you haven't noticed, the interweb nets of late are full of hate and anger, and it's just exhausting. And I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm also a liar, believe me. Now, what I found was a festival held in Winchester, Ontario, just 45 minutes outside of our nation's capital. And if you're not Canadian, that would be Ottawa. This is the home of Dairy Fest, a joy for farmers and Eastern Europeans alike, and probably a nightmare for those who are lactose intolerant. Featured in this festival is a competition, but not best in show, not butter sculptures, not even a competition for milkshakes, because y'all know that my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Damn right, it's better than yours.
This is a competition of bovine athleticism, whatever that means. And I don't know the last time you've ever seen a herd of cows, but they don't tend to have the competitive edge. They don't seem to be disciplined enough to run in a single line for any focused amount of time. I envision them opening the gates of this race and ending up watching them just lie down wherever they find fit. So these creatures are not very competitive, but it turns out that this is not an actual race of actual cows. No. These are human beings walking awkwardly with contraptions fashioned to look like cows between their legs. But it gets better. Each rider sports an NHL jersey and other accessories, usually some kind of weird wigs and hats and whatever. They reach into a bag, pick a number or a letter that indicates which lane they are going to be riding in. Then the volunteers off to the side shoot pucks into a net. This is very Canadian, by the way. They shoot pucks to determine which lane gets to move and how many steps forward. I just spit. And if you land on a cow patty, you get penalized. And the volunteers then roll a die, which is singular for dice, the more you know. And they determine how many steps you have to move back. And why do they do this, you ask? Charity. More specifically, it is run by a local legion, the Royal Canadian Legion 108. I just have one question. How did I not know about this earlier? This is the stuff that only people from rural areas, I can barely see rural. This is the stuff that people from the country think of. And I'm here for it, man. In this crappy world of chaos and COVID mayhem, it's really, really heartwarming and exciting to see folks rally around for their local charities, because we know charities are hurting. And I would imagine those in the country, rural, are hurting even more. These people are willing to make a cow's ass of themselves for charity. And here's another thing. They also, last year, they had raised money and shaved one of these people's heads with sheep shears. I haven't had a haircut in about a year, and I'm telling you, desperate times. I've been thinking. Speaking of haircuts and desperation, if you watched my last video and I don't know what you were doing not watching my last video, our premier Dougie Doug Fresh, aka Fordsy, I just spit again. I'm like all spitting all over the place, who previously was sporting the Ric Flair, must have been stricken with a desperate level of mortification after seeing my video. At least I think he saw my video. He got to the point where he recruited his daughter to give him a haircut.
So we literally got some dog clippers. I just sat in the chair and said, honey, go to town. And that's what happened.
And he put this all on video so that we can verify that he didn't have a clandestine salon experience. But I suddenly have a flashback of when my dad told me he was going to take me for a haircut. He promised it wouldn't be a short haircut. It was short. It was a bob. It had bangs. I have curly hair. Well, that's my rant for today. Let me know how your hairs are faring during these COVID times. Have you experimented with the dog shears? The sheep shears? Any kind of shears? Somehow it doesn't seem sanitary to be using animal shears. Anyway, I'll see you at the next rant. Bye! I'm going to put a little bit of a buffer on this. There's the sun, and I don't want this thing to overheat. Anyway. No.